In this hands-on section, I'll show you the difference between having a static local array and having an automatic local array in a function. The code is quite straightforward, consists of two functions, one called static array init. Init is short for initialization over here, and the other one is called automatic array init. Like the name says, the first function, static array init, contains in the init a local array that is declared static. The second function, automatic array init, also contains a local array, but this one is an automatic array, meaning it is not declared static. And we'll see the difference between these two. In the main function, we print out first a message saying first call to each function, and we're going to call the static array init function. I'm doing some formatting over here, and that is followed by a call to the automatic array init function. So we call each of these two functions once, and then we call each function a second time. So again, the static array init function first and the automatic array init function after that. The rest, the printf statement over here, this dashed line that I'm printing out, that's just for formatting. Don't worry about that. That was not included in the code that you saw in the slides. It's just for more helpful formatting. Let's take a look at the inside of these functions. So first, the static array function. So like I said, we define here a static integer array called array1 of size 3. And as you can see, I'm not explicitly initializing the elements of this array. The reason is to demonstrate that if you do not initialize a static array explicitly with any values, as long as actually any variable, as long as that variable is static, it will be initialized to 0. That happens automatically. Now remember what happens if you declare any variable static. The duration of any variable, any data, any container data, any data storage that is declared static. The duration is from the start of the program until the termination of the program, meaning this array is created as soon as this program launches and exists for as long as this program runs. In this case, until we hit the return 0 statement in the main function. In between, we may be in and out of this function, but this array1 will continue to exist with its current values because it is declared static. Inside this function, we first print out a string saying values on entering static array init, and we print out whatever its values are. All three elements. We do that using this for loop, going from 0 to 2. Remember, the size of the array is 3. So we print out whatever values are already in the array. Then we print out another string saying values on exiting the array. And what we do then is we add 5 to each element of the array and print it out. All three values again. Within this is 0, 1, and 2. Again in a for loop. And then we exit the function. That's the end of the function. What we expect to see is that if we call this function twice in the main function, what we expect to see is elements of array1 start with value 0. So the first time this prints out, we expect to see values 0, 0, and 0 in all three elements of this array. Then we add 5 to each element of the array and print out all three values again. So we expect to see 5, 5, and 5. The second time we call this function later on, because this integer array is declared static, this will not be the elements of array1 will not be initialized. Instead, array1 will still exist from the time the program began running, which means it will at that time contain the elements 5 in it, elements values 5, 5, and 5. We add another 5 to each of those, and then on exiting this function, the values in each element of the array will be 10, 10, and 10. Then we have the other function, the automatic array init function. In this one, we declare just a regular array, this one called array2, also of size 3, but because this is not a static array, we have to initialize it. And we initialize it to the values 1, 2, and 3. And we print out a similar string over here, values on entering automatic array init, and we print out the values the array contains at that time, again using a for loop. And the first time those values will be 1, 2, and 3. Then we print out another string, values on exiting automatic array init, and we add 5 to each of them. And so we print out those 3 values again, and now the values we expect to see are 6, 7, and 8. We then call this function a second time, and as a matter of fact, because array2 is not a static array, it will be reinitialized the second time we call this function, again with 1, 2, and 3. Because the duration for which array2 exists is from the start of this function until its termination. Let me run this code for you now. And here you see, first call the static array init function, and the values initially are 0, 0, and 0. On exiting the function, the values are 5, 5, and 5. We then call the automatic array init function. Initially, the elements of array2 are initialized to 1, 2, and 3. And on exiting, we add 5 to each element, and we get 6, 7, and 8. Then we call each function a second time. So we begin with the static array init function. We already have 5, 5, and 5 in it, left over from the last time. And we add another 5 to each. And now on exiting this function, we'll see 10, we'll have 10, 10, and 10 in all 3 elements of array 1. Now we call automatic array init a second time. And as you can see, this is the one that had the automatic array in it, not the static one. So array2 is reinitialized to 1, 2, and 3 because it's redefined, recreated, and on exiting this function, the values will again be 6, 7, and 8, just like the first time. And that is the difference between an automatic and a static array. Static array continues to exist between function calls, but that is not the case for automatic array.